Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm hoping you can, well, first help me understand if the American College of Pediatrics is going to be here, because you've used a letter from this group to justify pretty much this entire bill. And so I hope that I'm going to have the opportunity to ask them about some of the science that they have brought forward. You mentioned that in your bill, there's still the opportunity for parents to be able to provide care for their child. I don't know what you mean, because what you've prohibited in the bill as written is not only different types of medical procedures that are considered fairly streamlined based on national guidance and age appropriate as well, but what you've prohibited in your bill is the prescription of hormonal therapy for transgender youth. And the penalty, as I understand it in your bill, is a second-degree felony. So if you say that we don't have the research, and we don't know this area of healthcare, and so therefore what we have to do is pass your bill, tell me if I'm accurately understanding what the bill says. If a doctor provides the type of care that I described, hormonal treatment for trans youth, or any type of surgical procedure that is within the guidelines of the American Medical Association, that the local sheriff's office will be able to show up at that doctor's practice, perhaps when they're seeing another patient, armed, perhaps maybe their guns will be drawn, and they will arrest that doctor for providing this type of care, bring them to the county jail, where they then will await trial and possibly be imprisoned for 15 years for following guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control. Is that accurate?
You recognize Representative Sabatini.
Well, I appreciate your very, very detailed explanation of the consequences of breaking the law in Florida. If you believe a civil fine is a more appropriate mechanism for delicensing the doctor, I will be happy to amend the bill if that's what it takes to earn your support. So once again, not wedded to a certain criminal penalty. Any civil one will do just as fine. But to answer your question more fully, I do believe you said I justified on one letter to defend my position in this bill. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, there's very little to defend in this bill. This bill is trying to cease untested, radical, experimental, and harmful medical operations on children. And so really, I think anyone who believes in the merit of this bill is just trying to pump the brakes on something that's untested and that's going to have long-term consequences on Florida children, something that we need to be watching a little bit more carefully. And then as to your concern about the American College of Pediatricians not being able to testify today, this is a national topic, and a lot of the folks who are actually, I think, have the courage to actually go out into the public and say what it is that they believe that the truth lies, puts them in science, puts them into the position of advocating, are actually now nationally known and traveling around the country advocating in several states. Like I said, this has all happened so suddenly that a lot of the experts can't just be in one place at one time, but I'm sure they'll be happy to talk to you. And then one more sub-aspect to your question, about the hormonal therapy, I believe you refer to it almost as benign or healthy science, but there are actually strong cardiovascular concerns that are associated with using hormonal therapy at that period. Also, it's often used in conjunction with puberty blockers, which, as you know, puberty is a stage in which both the brain and the bones of a young person are both being fully developed, so blocking it has other severe health effects, and so I think it's a valid